What is up, gamers? In today's video, I'll show my updated setup for the Rope Dart and Twinblade. Because we're level 60, it's breakthrough 7, and I'll show you what I'm working with. I finally figured out the rotation as well, which I will talk about and showcase a bit later. Now, another change for this breakthrough, we can level our Drunken Poet to level 3. And at level 3, it creates explosions if the target has Fire Breath on it. But there is just no space for it. There's just no time for it to use that with this build. There's just so much going on with this build that, yeah. You swap to Rope Dart very often, basically every time on cooldown if you're out of rats, out of rodent, which is the main damage, if you will, almost main damage if with this setup. So there is only time for Soaring Spin. And I did a mistake here. I used Soaring Spin while I had rats up. You don't want to do that. When you have rats up from rope, you always want to light attack with twin blades because that's when they spawn. And that's what the big damage comes from. One of the main top DPS builds right now seems to be Umbrella and Strategic Sword for some reason. Like the speedrunning groups, raid groups, the Chinese players are running that build in the raid. Or not all of them, just only some of them. One or two, I think. But it's crazy. My boy Lone Walker here in the DPS meter, he was running that. And yeah, Umbrella, Strategic Sword, for some reason, they destroy absolutely. But yeah, I also still hear or see a lot of people saying that this build is not good. It's bad. And if you play the rotation poorly or have, you know, the wrong sets and whatnot, I can probably agree. Because it's a bit harder to execute at first. But once you get the hang of it, oh man. It is just crispy, dude. It is just crispy. Cannot wait for more raids as well. So, but this boss is a bit unfortunate because the circle layer, you cannot step in it because you will be transformed into donkey. So only ranged builds have the big advantage. But we had a pretty blaster group. You know, this is pre-made. This is our guild group. Most of the dudes, you know, have know what to do when it comes to like their own builds. They have it min-max too. So blasters, absolute blasters. You just fast forward here a little bit on the donkey because we got the Phoenix Lady after this one and my wife. Wait, what? I'm also using 5-fold bleed, the passive. It is ranked as the best PvE, one of the best PvE passives in Array in China as well, for a reason, because it does a lot of damage. People see 100 take damage on the target, whatever, but that's, you know, that's not really it. It does more than that. Fast forward here. So what you want to do, rotation, charge your rope for one rat, then use Q button on rope, and then use another rat. There is a difference in global with these tokens and spawning rats compared to China. I will explain in a bit in rotation in a second. But yeah, the first, we also do not have the extra duration on rats on global right now. So your first berserk on Twinblade will be without rats, which is a bit unlucky. And I also don't have the inner way called Vendetta, which is much better. I've only breaking point because I did a mistake and scrapped all of my Vendetta pages before, and that's a mistake. So I'm just running breaking point, which is also only level 2. So I cannot wait to get Vendetta, man. I hope I will get lucky on pages or try to convert some in the in the conversion. Here I was trying to do Fire Breath, but there is a way to animation cancel Fire Breath, which I didn't do at this specific segment. You use Drunken Poet into parry that animation cancels the well, the skill itself, and then you use Fire Breath and it also animation cancels the effect. We did a bit of a mistake here on the kegs, but yeah, if you swap the Rope Dart to charge the rope for rodents, aka rat, it may seem like a, you know, waste of time, but it's not. Like the damage increase is really insane. It's really insane. And we use also Soaring Spin before swapping to Rope Dart to get rats. So it's basically after rotation you use Soaring Spin. And the Fire Breath, I guess you can go with one take of Fire Breath just to apply the dot on the boss, because that's pretty fast to do as well, pretty fast to execute, which I will show again in a second. And this was pretty much the raid. I will also try to make a separate video for PvP builds. I need to get some more footage, but I can do that too. There is some sick what's it called, tactics as well. But I'll take you to the game and we will talk about some of the things, okay? So the sets we are using for this build, I'm using only these two. So it's the Swallow Call, oh excuse me, Calm Waters. This will heal you on perfect dodge. It doesn't really do that much in PvE. It's mostly for PvP, but if you're only doing PvE, I definitely recommend this set. It is called Eagle Rise. This one will give you damage if you have a dot on the target, which we do from the 5-fold bleed. So this is pure damage. This is much better for PvE, but I would have to run 2 different chests, right? Because the other set we would want to use is Hawking. This one gives you pure damage if you trigger Affinity, which is the orange number on the screen, and Twinblade's high attack speed. You know, you proc that very often. So this would be the best, but again, it will be like 2 different chests, or you can just go with these 2 sets, boys. No problem. You can just go with this one. Not the recommended, but I'm a big fan of perfect dodging. For PvP, there is a passive you use for that, or in a way called evasive charge. So that's why I use it. But if you pure PvE, just go with this one. So that's what we got going for the sets on both of the sides. This is the Swallow Call. This is actually pretty good for the execute phase. It pairs well with the breaking point. So this is one is not that bad for raids, actually. It's pretty good. The stats you want to look for is, well, definitely crit rate. This is number 1. Crit rate, agility. Agility is the main stat that gives you crit chance as well. Then you want some max physical damage, minimum physical damage. You want some affinity rate. This is for, excuse me, not, well, affinity rate is good too. That's for the orange numbers, or precision for the accuracy. And then bamboo cut skill damage is not that good. Bamboo cut attack, I mean, because bamboo cut does not work on mystic skills, because mystic skills are not in that category. So bamboo cut only works for purple element weapons, which is, you know, literally this setup, this set bamboo cut for these 2 weapons. Skills from these weapons, not the mystic skills, right? If you run stuff that's recommended here, it's not too bad. But for example, you don't really want to use, I mean, breaking point is amazing, right? That's amazing, but this one is not good. So I will recommend 5-fold bleed. The interface we are using is the Moral Chant. That's the horse. We got Echoes of Oblivion. This is the main thing. And this one actually really pops off at level 6. Before that, Twin Blades aren't as strong, even though they are super strong. But yeah. Next up, Breaking Point is what I use. This is, again, the great for execute phase, exhausted enemies. When you crit, you apply a stack. And this one will increase the penetration and crit damage bonus. And we get also increased crit chance during Zerg mode by 10%. So I'm over 30% crit chance in the Zerg mode, which is really good. Like, this passive is really good for PvE. Next one, we got 5-fold bleed. This could be probably optional, or the breaking point could be optional. Once I get Vendetta, I want to try it instead of breaking point, because this one is amazing. For rats, this is really amazing. They deal more damage by 30%. This one, level 6, does even way more damage, which is just wild. And it makes your Q button last longer on the target and restore more tokens, which is used for the spawning rats. And they also recover faster. Like, this is wild. This passive is amazing. But that's what we're running right now. On the Mystic skills, we are running the Soaring Spin. The damage on this skill is ridiculous. Now onto the Drunken Poet and Dragon's Breath. This is another combo. So we can skip this drinking animation from Fire Breath as follows. You use Drunken Poet first, and you literally animation cancel with parry. It looks like this. Do I have enough vitality? It'd be awkward if I didn't. Probably not. But when you press on 4, I will press parry right after Drunken Poet. See right here? I have the debuff here or the buff here, and I can use Fire Breath right away, which we would parry as well, like this. Same story, Drunken Poet. So you can do this in between your attacks or after the rotation before swapping back to Rope Dart. And speaking of rotation, so the way how rats work, if you heavy charge Rope and then rat, only 1 token gets, gets used. Only 1 token, right? So we have 1 more left. So what we do after this, we press Q to apply the debuff, where rats do more damage, then press rat again for the 2nd token, and then weapon swap to Twinblade and start light attacking to get Zerg up, and then use Zerg. So it would be like this, for 1.5 seconds, you drop rat, you go into Q, you drop another rat, then you can go tap to swap to dual blade and just, light attack right like this for Zerg. And then you press Zerg, you attack until Zerg is out, and then you use Soaring Spin, which is this ability right here. I don't have vitality right now, but it's this skill right here. And then you swap back to the Rope Dart, heavy charge again the rats, and go again, start your rotation again. Obviously, when attacking, you will get like more tokens to use for the rats. I always have two rats before I run out. And then again, in the execute phase or with Soaring Spin, you can apply the Fire Breath for the dot ignite, which is very strong and very powerful. Let me see if anything else we gotta mention. Other stats, well, like I said again, crit chance number 1. Agility for more crit chance and minimum attack is pretty good too. Affinity is very good, that's the orange number, but we want to mainly focus on crit. And I'm actually almost 40% crit chance with Zerk up. That's pretty sick. Precision is good too. If you don't proc precision, the damage number is gray, which means that's the lowest damage possible. So you want to get precision as well for the accuracy. Affinity is pretty high too. But yeah, overall the damage is pretty insane with this build if you pair it with Rope Dart. Any other combos, if you guys are asking, they would work. Anything else instead of Rope Dart would work, but not in raids DPS. The DPS with this combo, when it comes to raiding, is just unmatched. So, but yeah, for PvP or solo world, bosses, whatever, you can pair anything instead of Rope Dart. People for PvP play Nameless Sword, they play Strategic Sword, even Nameless Spear is good for the Q button because that's a CC. People even use the Umbrella, or they use the Healing Fan. So, sky's the limit, honestly. You can even use Thunder Cry Blade for the Q button for shield. But it really doesn't matter for PvP or PvE, whatever you want. But for the raids, you really wanted to combine these two because they're very strong. For the food buffs, there is one very powerful. It's called Crispy Pheasant. This one gives you physical attack for 30 minutes. There is quite a... Well, the way how you get this recipe, you have to visit all the food stalls in this zone. So there is one in here. There are 2 here, another one up top. You need to eat 4 of their food right away, and then it will proc trigger a quest, encounter a quest. You follow the quest, you will unlock this food. Yeah. And then you can use probably one of these scrolls. You can use movement speed. That's pretty good when you try to, go to the boss. Right? It's only 5%, but it still helps. So that's pretty good too. That's what I use personally. For PvP, you would want to use this one though. Endurance regen and Chi regen. That's for PvP. But again, I will make a separate video for PvP, most likely. Yeah, I wish I could show you in Training Dummy. We don't have that. Only China does. I hope they will implement it in Global soon, because I want to min-max the rotation for max DPS, which of course will differ depending on the boss mechanics. One thing I gotta mention though, if you look at damage numbers in raids, it all depends also on your raid. If you have blasters, your damage will not be as high, but if you have a bad group, your damage will be high if you're blasting yourself. So it kind of depends. Like you can really determine if the build is good or bad if there is like the low or high number. I don't know. It really depends, man. Get it if you want to go by that, no problem at all. But yeah, I believe we covered everything. I didn't want this video to be too long, so this is the updated build for this setup. For level 60, we have another breakthrough in about 7 days, 8 days from now. Should be 7 soon. So if you guys would want me to drop updates every single breakthrough, I can do that. Because, for example, with this breakthrough, it changed a little bit because of the Drunken Poet combo with the fire explosions. Not really for us, though. We don't really use it in PvE. There is not much time to do that. I think he would lose DPS. I tried to play with it before, and the footage I showed earlier, I played without it, and it's much better. But there will be chapters underneath the video or in the description, timestamps. If you want to skip some parts, no problem. I noticed a lot of people straight up don't watch the video and jump to comment section and just ask questions, which were answered in the videos most likely. But homies and homeheads, I stream every day on Twitch, Kick, YouTube. If you guys want to stop by, I would greatly appreciate it. But with that said, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, you have a great one, and peace.